If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
You're a big guy.
For you.
If there's a game like that you're stoked about, whatever, pick any franchise, and the next game in that franchise was announced, you're jazzed about it. Would you rather that game come out and suck, or get canceled and like never come out?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I remember that. So that is an excellent question. What is worse, to loved and lost, or to have never loved before? So would you rather have a game like Construct and his Duke Nukem Infinity? Would you rather have a game like that never come out, or a game that you've been looking forward to that was super hyped up like by everyone, like Duke Nukem Forever? It comes out and it absolutely fucking sucks. So what is the better alternative? What do you guys like? Would you rather have a game that is super hyped up and it disappoints the shit out of you, or you are super hyped up and it never happens? Like Scalebound for me.
Scalebound versus Anthem, for rough examples.
Ooh, man, yeah, that is quite the comparison there. Fuck.
Or even like Scalebound versus Mass Effect Andromeda or whatever, just keeping it in the BioWare wheelhouse.
Yeah, so what's worse or better to you guys? Would rather it suck, but it's close though. Don't tell the Shenmue fanboys though. What's that supposed to mean, Mto? Shenmue 3 was fine. Not much difference, really. I mean, I personally, ooh, man, I don't know. What do you choose, Paul?
I mean, like a game coming out and sucking is a bummer, but like never knowing what could have been. Like I'm still devastated about Scalebound having not come out. I still don't own an Xbox One, and that evolved into me still not having a Series console because that game never came out, so I never needed to buy it.
But would you be angrier if the game came out, you bought an Xbox for it, and then the game sucked, and you literally bought a console for one fucking game that disappointed you?
Like, in that situation...
Fuck, dude.
I'd be fucking livid, right? But I still think that... Because, like, shit gets canceled without ever being announced all the time, right?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was announced, we had multiple trailers, we had multiple, like, gameplay, like, different journalists or whatever were able to play it, record the gameplay. Like, we had a bunch of that shit. The multiplayer aspect of it with, like, 4 play... Like, we had all of this information. It was platinum, and then... What, like not even that long. I want to say like 3-6 months before the release date that it was supposed to have, they were like, hey, this just isn't happening. Like, I am still more upset about that because we got so much information before.
So you would rather know because at least you have the closure of it.
Yeah. Like, oh man, that sucked, but here it is. It can sit on my shelf and be a piece of shit forever, rather than just like never get to play what that game was.
I actually feel the opposite. I would rather we sit here and be able to blame Microsoft for their missteps, because going all the way back to Scalebound, they pissed you off and you still to this day don't have an Xbox. But at least you have that as like ammunition to use against the fact that you don't own an Xbox. Because if you would, I feel like you would have been more upset. Like, sure, you would have known that Scalebound came out and it was terrible, but like then you'd be super pissed off that like I literally bought an entire fucking console. I bought into the ecosystem for this game and it sucked. And now I've got this fucking brick just collecting dust. Why do I have... What purpose do you serve?
I just, in this situation, I feel like the likelihood of like why it was canceled, I think they just couldn't get multiplayer working right. And so like if multiplayer was broken, didn't work, was shitty, whatever, like cool, I still have the single player option to play through.
Yeah,
that
but we're
whole
saying
game.
the game sucks, that it disappoints you. Like the single player sucks too. You play the single player and you're like, oh man, this game looks so good and this is ass. I'm not saying there's no like, because our whole premise to this is the game is bad.
I think if I have it at the end of the day, I'm going to, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna fuck around with it. I went back and platinumed Anthem like 2 years later. I played Suicide Squad. Like, having the option is more important to me than just like it being taken off the table and it's gone forever.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a practical fucking answer here. I never thought we were gonna get a Dragon's Dogma 2. I sat here, I theorized, I hypothesized, I dreamed, I fucking hoped. Every year I had a birthday cake, I blew out my candle, and I was like, oh boy, if I could just get a Dragon's Dogma 2, that'd be great. Remember that one interview? That one interview where they said Devil May Cry 5 or Dragon's Dogma? That means it's gonna happen. You're telling me there's a chance. Like, I sat there hoping against all fucking hope we would eventually get a Dragon's Dogma 2 game. And we finally got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think being a detective, like, it was A or B. We chose A, but logically that means B is next.
I know, but I still didn't think it was going to happen because we've been waiting all this fucking time, right? So imagine my joy, imagine the hype of everybody who loved Dragon's Dogma when we finally saw Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, I would rather live with the hope and dreams of one day getting a Dragon's Dogma 2 if it was, announced and canceled or whatever. Like, well, maybe one day they'll do it. It wasn't ready now, but one day we're going to get it. PlayStation 7 comes out. I'm hearing rumblings at Capcom. We might get Dragon's Dogma 2 as a launch title. I would rather have that game get canceled than come out and be a severe disappointment. Like, if Dragon's Dogma 2 fucking came out and it was like playing Brink, that would hurt my fucking soul, dude. If it was just a broken piece of shit. Like,
yeah, I think, like, at the end of the day, too, though, like, Dragon's Dogma as a game is kind of like an experiment for Capcom, and I think they needed to wait until they had, like, enough ideas to fill the game, Like,
sure. Yeah, but I'm just saying, if it would have come out, it would have been bad. That's the whole premise here. If the game comes out and it sucks, then fine. Could you still play it? I guess, if you want to torture yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, there were likable things in Anthem. So you even saying, well, I went back and I played Anthem. Yeah, the gameplay was still good. They just fucked up, like, the loots and all that. Like, flying around like Iron Man, that was the good part. Imagine if Anthem came out and not even that was good. Imagine if the gameplay sucked, the gunplay sucked, the combat sucked. It was just bad. It wasn't good to look at graphically. All the animations were jank, and it was just like a fucking... I don't think Anthem... Like, what do you give Anthem out of 10, Paul?
I mean, just like flying around and shooting shit, probably like...
Yeah, just overall. What's your experience with Anthem?
Probably like a 7. I think...
Okay. There you go.
Really
so it's an above average game.
At the service aspect that they.
Yeah, that was the failure. That was the failure. Was them nerfing shit, the stupid fucking loading screens, not to be able to get in, the game not functioning like it's supposed to, not being able to deliver enough content to keep people engaged. That's the hard part of a live service game. The easy part, and I say that with a grain of fucking salt, I understand making video games is hard, but the easy part is making the combat, the guns, the flying, all that stuff, right? They did that. They did the thing, but the hard part was delivering content on a regular enough basis to keep people engaged, to get people actually invested into the game, to get you invested and immersed in the world. Like, all that is where they fucking failed big time. So, all those things that you like about the game, and you do like the game, is why you rate it a 7 out of 10. Now imagine in your brain that Anthem is a 2 out of 10 for you. Are you going back and taking the fucking time, subjecting yourself to that horror for a platinum, playing a 2 out of 10 game?
How many trophies am I missing?
You wouldn't have played it that much to begin with. You know what I mean? I'm talking an absolute dismal fucking experience. Not, oh, this wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. No, I'm saying the game sucks. And at that point, me personally, and I'm not trying to change your mind, you feel how you feel. But I would rather deal with the what if. I would rather have the Dragon's Dogma that has been fucking, blown into the ether that never was. So we can always sit here and have fond memories and theorize and like, oh man, we could have had this. We could have had this. Ah, you fuckers. Then like, well, they released Dragon's Dogma 2 and it was fucking trash. What happened? Where did everyone that worked on not one person from the first game worked on this? Why was the combat bad? How could you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's better to have never loved it all in that case. And I would have rather have never gotten a Dragon's Dogma 2. Thankfully, knock on wood, I continue to exist in a space where Dragon's Dogma 2 did come out, and it's fucking awesome. But if it wasn't, I would have rather have had it never come out. That's such a practical way to look at the question. Both are disappointing. I guess the coming out, since it cost me money. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing too, Parka. Just like Paul buying an Xbox for Scalebound, I can't imagine he'd be really happy with just like a brick. And at that point, you'd probably find some way to legitimize your purchase. Hell, I bought enough games to make sense out of owning a Wii U. And I bought that for one game. I was in love with the Assassin's Creed franchise, but I fell off after the Ezio arc. Which one came out that was absolute dog shit? Paul would know better than me. What was absolute dog shit? Construct asked.
I think it was Unity launched and just like was the most buggy, unplayable thing.
Yeah, Paul and I were talking about that not too long ago, Construct, where Unity came out. I think you were like falling through the ground and shit constantly.
Yeah, Unity was like 3 games after the end of the Ezio stuff, though. So maybe he's talking about like 3. Like 3 played well. It just had the least. Like 3 had a main
3 was not known as a mess.
But the main character was worse than Aloy.
I mean, he was boring. Yeah, I agree. Connor. Yeah. Black Flag was good stuff.
Yeah, Black Flag, like legit everybody loved Black Flag. Like people who don't like Assassin's Creed love Black Flag.
People liked Assassin's Creed 3 because of the America connection, because of the, fucking Civil War and all that shit. Or not Civil War, but fucking... What's the war on the English called? 1776.
The Revolution?
There we go. Revolutionary War. My bad. I had a brain fart there. I was like, Civil War is North and South. I'm an idiot. Revolutionary War. Yeah, sorry. George Washington. Although for some reason he was like weirdly a tyrant and shit in that game. That's what I remember. I was like, why is George?
That was DLC. He made himself a king.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was under the influence of the alien apple or some shit.
Yeah.
I love that people are concerned about a black samurai when you have evil George Washington who ate an alien apple.
Yeah, but that was DLC. The DLC is non-canon.
Well, whatever, dude. My whole point is it's all historical fiction.
So I, as the person who started playing Prototype, ran around the entire map and got all like 200 collectibles up front, and then had the game freeze while auto-saving after I finished a mission, and my save file was fucked and I had to restart the whole thing and didn't play that game for years after that. I was able to get through Unity with 0 fucking issues from day one. So, bad example.
Did you ever go back and finish Prototype?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay, because the game was good.
Yeah,
now, if the game sucked and you did all that, would you have gone back and played it?
Well, no.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying cancellation is better than coming out and being terrible. If Unity, what would it? Wait, hold on. Would have been better?
Answer of like money and all of that shit. I totally get and respect that. Like that's the smart answer. But it means more to me to like have the option and to like, oh well, this sucks, so I don't want to play it anymore. Versus maybe that sucked. We'll never know. Like that, in my heart of hearts, is a bigger thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. So if Unity was canceled or came out in the state it was in, what would be worse?
I mean, like I said, I played Unity at launch and had
Oh yeah,
no
you
issues
said you really didn't have any
somehow.
issues, right?
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had games like that before, Construct, where they had game-breaking glitches in them and stuff like that, and I played them and had no issues. There was one of the Batman games where you, like, literally got locked out of doing story mode, and I was fine, so that's all up to chance. So it would have to be, like, one of those hypothetical things where, like, well, what if you played this game and it was a broken piece of shit and it ruined your experience completely? Would you rather have not played it at all? And I would say, yeah, dude. I would have rather have never played Dead Rising than to play the game and enjoy it and then get stuck in a portion of the story mode that completely ruined my experience with it. I would have rather have never played it at all.
Dead Rising is a good example because there's including like spin-offs or like half remakes or whatever. There's like 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah.
And they never learned because it was an awesome concept for a game / series, and like none of them were actually good. They never executed it in like a way like you do the
That's
first
how I
one.
feel.
You get feedback from players like, hey, this is a cool idea, but like all of these parts sucked, and they were like, okay, so change the main character and nothing else. We got you.
Got it. Hey, the game's a broken piece of shit, but we got this blonde dude in a yellow motorcycle jacket. Do you like it now?
Oh, it's still not very good? All right, we hear you. We'll bring Frank back.
All right. So, obviously, we all have a differing opinion. Paul thinks he would rather Love and Lost and played a shitty game.
Disappointed rather than being forced to be disappointed.
I would rather sit. I'm a dreamer, and I'd rather sit here and like reminisce about what could have been, and rather than what actually happened. Because even if a game got canceled, we might get it later on. And as a wise man once said many, many years ago, you make a bad game and put it out, it's a bad game. You delay it, or in this case, cancel it and resurrect it, it could be good. And that's where I'm leaving that. What's that?
Don't you quote The Rock to me.
I did. The Rock. Most games could have some redeeming factor to it. Keyword being most. I mean, anything could have a redeeming factor to it, Mto. Sure, yeah, but especially in the time we live in, is it worth it, especially for a lot of us that play a lot of games, is it worth it for you to take time out of your backlog to go play something that's not... Yeah, there's a redeeming quality to mini games, but like, we all prioritize our time. And so do you want to play something that you think is a shitty game when you could be playing a good game? Like, well, straight up, Mto. Hold on, Paul. Pause where you're at. Mto, I'm going to play a new game tomorrow. What should I play? Should I play Vampire Rain on the Xbox 360 or Hi-Fi Rush? You tell me. I don't regret playing Anthem. Just wish it could have been better. Of course. And that's why I had to call Paul out on that example, because I don't think that Anthem was a bad game.
It's just like...
The latter? Hi-Fi Rush, right? Exactly. And that's exactly the issue right there. Sure. Many games have redeeming qualities. I'm sure there's one thing I could tell you about Vampire Rain if I played it tonight that I liked about it, but that doesn't mean it's a good experience.
I just like the practical answer again, like not wasting money. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But if a game comes out and it sucks, like, that's a bummer. Just, you don't have to play it. Like, skip it. Don't, like, stop playing it. Whatever. Move on. Go to the next game. But never having the option to play something is like it's a bigger bummer. It's a bigger detriment, in my opinion.
I mean, you'll never know.
No, I do know because I don't get to play it.
I mean, you would never know if it was good or not.
I am saddled with the sadness of not getting to play it at all.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
It's a different, uncontrollable sadness versus the, like, oh, well, this fucking sucks.
Yeah. What's a game that you were shocked was good? I'll go first. Cool Spot on the Genesis. Cool Spot's just a good game, I'll have you know, Construct. I will not suffer any 7-Up mascot slander in this channel, sir. I own Cool Spot for the Super Nintendo, which is the superior version, by the way. And it's a great game.